Yo, welcome everyone, Sanjay Uche here, and we're back at it again with Mushoku Tensei Season 2, Episode 1. And yeah, I guess this is I wouldn't want to say true test, but it's like, it's the fair apples to apples comparison when it comes on to, episode 1 reaction of Bleach, our episode reaction review of JJK. This is the true episode 1 in terms of label, at least when it comes on to Mushoku Tensei. So let's see how it goes. Of course, I know last week's episode 0, was more of a somewhat of a prequel, explain simultaneous events that happened during the course of season 1 with Sylphie and everything, which I know some person may not have found exciting, but it did play a part, or it will play a part in, connecting that narrative thread with the other narrative threads and make it much more fulfilling when it kind of combines with those other narrative threads, so to speak. So yeah, but for all intents and purposes, here we are, the actual episode 1. So let's see what Rudeus himself is up to. Even though I've been hearing it's been depressing, and even though what I've heard for this section of the story when it comes down to Rudeus' mental states, it should be very depressing too, outside of the various thumbnails and reviews just in appearance, like just in my feed that I've been seeing. So yeah, anyway, rambled on long enough. Let's see what this episode has to offer. Hope you guys are having an awesome day, noon or night, or whenever you're listening to this. So yeah, leave a like, comment, all that YouTube jazz and blues, and let's get into it. Nothing like being in a company of people and still feeling lonely, right? Everything reminds me of her. Jano. It's interesting, there's no feels. How should I say it? Feels. Like I know they're in obviously like a more winter-based place at this point, the north naturally, but it just feels. I don't want to make a big deal out of nothing, but the fact that I'm constantly hearing the wind in the background, yeah, and the fact that there's no music, no nothing, it kind of feels somber, like just reflective of Rudeus's mood, I'd say. So I find that interesting. It's just, yeah. Bro, this episode just feels depressing. Jano. Okay. Like a panic attack, or Sarah, no business, brother. I'm just annoyed by your presence. Again, I just really have a comment on it with just a somber tone, mood. No use of OST. I would have never guessed this man was the leader. Well, you could have not made it more obvious. Is Rudeus just intentionally just doing this to kind of see the similarities, honestly? Granted, yeah, he probably is right. He probably won't have much to do after the initial, assignment, but still. Pretty durable, clear looking creatures. But honestly, if I'm in this world, I hope I would be able to cast incantationless magic as well, brother, because repeating all of that every time. Come on, Rudeus. Yeah, if you feel you're losing, then fine, but don't get everybody else killed. Sarah with a clutch. Do one arrow. This man just in at the middle, so. Interesting. I feel like in a lot of other anime that would have been the moment that Rudeus would have just proved himself to the group. Or maybe we can still get that. Okay, seems like we're gonna probably get that. Loving the music. Wild, bro. This man is clearly still OP. Alright, come on, them say, yo, free stuff. Alright, we stop bad mode them. Stupid. Really lag. Man, just have it. Yes, sir. Keep moving forward. Alright, so to be honest, I think in just terms of overall enjoyability, persons might end up enjoying this episode more than the prequel episode 0 for season 2, but that's just like my initial impressions. That aside, I thought this was a solid episode, if I'm being honest. Like, it seemed very intentional, and I feel like I was kind of making it a bigger deal than it maybe should have been on the surface, at least at first glance. But I think it's actually pretty beautiful. The intentional choice I believe the studio made in terms of not having any background music, any OST, nothing, just the genuine, northern winds just blowing in the background for us to hear while the characters are interacting, talking, planning their mission, getting to know each other and everything. It just felt very intentional and seemed like it was paired with Rudeus's mental state throughout this episode. Because if you realize, we don't really get any like background music or OST really and truly until Rudeus decides to step up and get rid of the Grizzlies. That's what they're called. I feel like I'm getting the name wrong, but yeah, we don't really get any music until his conviction and just mental, like being certain of what he needs to do, becomes 100% certain, and he decides to help out the team. We don't get any OST until then, so it kind of feels like it was very intentional in the way they actually went about doing that. Very representative of Rudeus. It's kind of like every aspect of the episode is alive and tied to Rudeus and his character per se. And of course we do get music again at the end, and I guess since it's the end of the episode, that's to be expected, but I think it serves that dual role of representing symbolically that Rudeus is ready to once again move on, so to speak. So I thought that the intentionality of that actually is a good thing. It kind of helps make it stand out in terms of being episode 1. Now, of course, we see Rudeus. It seems like it's been a few years, to say the least, since the whole, splitting up of Dead End. He does look taller, so I'm assuming it's been a few years at least, maybe 2, maybe I think 3, if I'm remembering right from what I've heard from like the manga or the source material. So he should be about what 12, 13, 14, give or take. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section there, but it's just the whole somber mood like throughout the entirety, or at least through 90% of the episode, when it comes down to him and his character, and him just seeing Eris and past comrades in these new characters he's found, Sarah and Suzanne, was it? And him just not moving past the loss he had towards going towards the end of season one, kind of temporarily setting him back into somewhat of a similar mindset of where he was in his previous life. And that's basically confirmed by the end of the episode, where we got that little flashback, that kind of nice flash of his previous life on the wall, while he's kind of contemplating like, yeah, I've lost certain things, but I've come to this world. I did learn some important lessons, but so I have to still put those to work and do what needs to be done, essentially. So what I like about it is that it really and truly shows, you could probably write a lesson about depression from this episode, and how even though we might overcome certain obstacles in life, we could have certain relapses, so to speak. At the end of the day, we're all still human, so to speak. Well, I would hope. And that even though you might set a goal, there will be, I guess, certain walls, certain setbacks, so to speak. And I think that's what we got with this episode with Rudeus, essentially, just really encapsulating that, essentially. And that sometimes even just interacting with persons around you kind of help remind you of the things that you need to get done, or that you still have important things in your life despite the losses you've actually incurred, so to speak. So yeah, I think that's the basic gist of the episode. And of course, by the end there, we see Rudeus is ready to move on, which I like. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, I think that's very representative of the fact that again, he did have lessons in terms of living life seriously and moving forward and not wasting things this time around. And he kind of overcame his, to be honest, I don't expect he's 100% better. Obviously that's not the case, but he's, when these, how should I put it, when these setbacks come up now, right, compared to when he just started and we just came to this world, he seems to be recovering and deciding to move forward much faster compared to those times. So I think that's representative of the fact that yes, he did have some impactful lessons in his life, which is helping him combat similar pitfalls in his life, similar pitfalls to his previous life, I would say. Yeah, let's put it like that. Yeah. So yeah, I think it was a solid episode. Very strong, I guess, lessons when it comes on to, I would say, maybe human nature, overcoming loss or depression, connecting back with people, being reminded of what's important in life, and just the way the episode was executed in terms of the somber nature and the intentionality of the music choices seemingly being tied to Rudeus's mental state. I think it was very powerful, honestly. And of course, it's just a re-emphasis of the fact that Rudeus has grown as a character with how, probably not quickly, because within the span of this episode is just probably a day or two in terms of the timeline of this episode. And obviously he's been depressed for a long while. So yeah, so beautiful episode. Really love the human nature aspects that are really baked into this episode, and I'm looking forward to seeing where Rudeus's character continues to go. And it's funny because even though he had Eris's hair and the panties, which is ridiculous, but because to be honest, I thought he had some pills or something, or some potion with some anxiety attacks in the compartment here. But the fact that it was panties, it's ridiculous. But considering it's included in such a, the panties are included in such a non-comedic, somber, emotional character development kind of skin, you almost have to forget the ridiculousness of him just carrying the panties on him, honestly. So yeah, but anyway, I thought it was a solid episode. Again, I don't know if I'll be doing reaction reviews to the entire season, but let's see how it goes. When the mud head take me, we'll see how it goes. But anyway, let me know what you guys think. Of course, leave a like, comment, let me know what you thought about the episode, and I'll see you in the next one.